What it do, everybody? We back again, episode 130 of the Grounded Show. You already know, man. Joe's not here today. He's under the weather, man. He's been sick for the past couple of weeks, actually. That's why we didn't drop an episode last week, but he's getting better, and he'll be back by next week. So definitely make sure y'all sending him some well wishes because he's been going through it, man. But I'm excited right now, man. This has been kind of a long time coming. We're here with the gentleman from Lobos Coffee Roasters.
What's up, everybody? I'm Pablo.
My name's Tony.
Yeah, man. This is actually a dope spot here. You're technically in Winter Park, right? Or
It's called Audubon Park. It's right
Park?
between Winter Park and Baldwin Park, Corinne Drive and Winter Park Road.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but yeah, I remember the first time that I came out here, the location like grabbed me right away. You know what I'm saying? Y'all here on this corner. It's a nice big spot. It looks super dope. How much did that factor into getting this spot?
Loads. It took us probably about a year and a half to actually find the location. And we jumped from the Soto District to Lake Ivanhoe. This one came up. It wasn't ideal. It was a previous gas station, and the landlord wanted to keep it as a gas station. But he eventually changed his mind, and here we are.
Oh, so like y'all had to do the conversion from the gas station to this now, or?
Yeah, that's a story on its own.
Yeah, I know that.
So this used to be a gas station. It was abandoned for a couple years, and basically, it's everything happens for a reason. This was the fourth location we started negotiating since his idea to actually breaking ground. We negotiated 3 other locations, and they all fell through for one reason or another. And then this one was a handshake deal that the owner honored. And he kept it real with us and was like, we got to deal with him. If they fell through, then we'll go with someone else. But he gave us the shot. A lot of people don't realize how you're up against the bigger brands and the bigger companies that want the space too. Because if it makes sense for us, it makes sense for Starbucks, right? So basically, this was the 4th one that we were under contract for, and we signed a deal. We took the tanks out of the ground. We had to pull the pumps out the parking lot, repave everything. It used to look a lot different here. Sidewalks,
you had
parking.
to pay for environmental impact study? Or?
Yeah, if a question starts with, did you have to pay for it? The answer is probably yes.
Bro, that's definitely something that I learned with like starting a business, just all the extra random stuff that the city or the county will throw at you. They'll tell you something one day, they'll change the story the next 2 days or something like that. Oh yeah, I know I told you this, but now you got to do it like this. It's insane, man.
At the end, they'll flip it on you, and it's crazy because there was already sidewalks here. They made us rip them out and put new ones. There was already parking. They made us repaint, Like, it's just crazy. They called us and we're like, hey, the incline is 6 degrees and it can't be bigger than 4. And you're like, come on, man. Like it's just me and him. Like, we don't really got all these funds to be doing this.
Man, when we opened the nail salon, me and my wife, same thing, bro. Like, I had a nice little nest that I had saved for all the stuff that would pop up. That was gone.
People think it's
you know what I mean?
cute.
I had to be pulling
man.
money for other stuff out of nowhere. Like, it was crazy,
Start
man.
with one number and you finish different one.
So on that aspect, my background is restaurants and hotels over 20 years. That does not compare to being an entrepreneur or business owner, because those are just completely different skill sets. Just like you said, you had to come up with all these items, environmental studies that you didn't know even knew what it was. And you have to learn quick, because when you flip the script from working for someone else to working on your own, time is money. And
you got to figure it out. Ain't nobody else gonna figure it out.
Yeah, the buck stops with you. So we were one of the times one of those times that we had time or money was our grease trap. That was something that wasn't planned for, or at least that big of an item, which was like 4 times more expensive than what we anticipated.
Gotcha.
But wait, you got ahead of me. So what I was telling you was, so we ripped the tanks out of the ground and start construction, call it like February 2020. And 2 weeks later, COVID happens.
Oh, so y'all, dang, I didn't think about that. Y'all got caught that middle part of it, man.
Nah, we were just started. We were like 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it. We just got our funding from the SBA. We had already spent a ton of money. We had already locked in everything. We just looked at each other and we're like, what do we do? Like, if we quit now, like nothing will ever happen. We just had to keep going. We couldn't give up. And finally, we opened in December that year.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So it took us over a year and a couple months.
That's insane. I know when the whole COVID thing happened, I just happened to find out after the fact that the sign shop is an essential business. So we were able to stay open, and a whole bunch of people had to come get like their COVID signs.
Yeah,
and everything like that. So
yeah.
Like, for us, business-wise,
Some people did good. Yeah, my old corporate job did great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing because you can't even plan for that because that doesn't even make
Out of
sense.
nowhere.
Thing that happens once every 100 years, and then you just smack in the middle
live
of
through
it.
it.
No one has a game plan for that.
That's crazy. So, aside from the headache stuff, like what made y'all like get into this kind of field, the coffee and everything? Like, what was the thing that made you say, let's put a brick and mortar location of this? Like,
Oh, this was his idea. He brought. I mean, we've been friends since like we were young, and he brought me the idea back maybe like 10 years ago now, and we'd always talk about it, and we help each other out, working through different issues of it. And like, eventually, I went from talking about it to actually investing, and it took us 6 years to open, from idea to us opening the doors.
When you're planning with your own money, you gotta make sure you
Right.
plan it right.
so what was the thing in your head that just kept that idea like at the forefront and made it something that you just knew you had to see all the way through?
I was in a point in my life where I had a window of opportunity to take the leap without having to risk much. Now it's different, and especially for Pablo, we both have kids. So it's we're doing a lot for them and building for their future. But we had a window of opportunity and thought, we could do this. Like I said, 20 years of experience of running restaurants and hotels gave me the confidence that we could operate it. Again, being an entrepreneur, that's something different.
Yeah.
But,
So did you get the idea of like basing it off coffee, like from your experience in the restaurant business?
So my family actually grows coffee or grew. Oh yeah, so my family actually grew coffee in Panama.
Oh, okay.
So I was, knew about it, but we left when I was young. But the idea was there. We actually went back and tried to look at the actual, farming of the coffee. No farmer, man. Farming's hard.
Yeah.
My skill sets were the retail, end customer. So just kind of that's why it took so long. Where does that process go? But a lot of those still stuck with us today. We deal with direct to farms. We have a connection in Nicaragua. Not a Papua New Guinea. Our Peaberry, Pablo made a connection with a farmer. So that was still a lot of how we started and how we thought about coffee and getting it from the source, trying to get the best item that we can, and obviously giving that to our customers.
Did you guys go check out the farms? How was that experience?
Pablo was the one that really had our first initial farm.
Because right when we started this idea, as we're getting going, my wife's grandfather, he's done a lot of business in Central America. He's like, hey, I know a coffee farmer in Nicaragua, come down. So I went down there and we met, and that ended up being one of our biggest partners.
Wow.
And they sent us a bunch of coffee on the arm at first that we couldn't pay for up front, but just to lock in a good price and get a good size, and paid them as we went. It's those kind of relationships that kind of help make this happen, because without it, it's tough.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I learned with the business too. Like those little helpful hands along the way, they go a long way, especially when you're in them binds or when you're just in the point where you're like, man, is this ever gonna come together? Like it's like one of those things where sometimes that hand coming out is like everything, what I mean? Like you don't even know how you would have got past that stage if that hand wasn't there at the time.
I'll be quite honest, like working in the restaurant field, I kind of got that from them, that you make friends with other people in restaurants because you never know what's going to happen, and it kind of helped me here. I actually met Jared from Lineage, obviously one of our direct competitors, but there was one time that our machine went down, our espresso machine went down, and we didn't have a part. I'm, who am I going to call? Someone in the restaurant? They're not going to have that part. Actually, he luckily had it.
Yeah.
So building those relationships, and luckily enough that he's been very gracious is great. And but like he mentioned to me, tide rises all boats, and whenever they're in a pinch or whatever the case may be, we help them out. But that's what it comes down to, because we're all in the same field.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll be surprised of the people that reach out, the people that are going to be there, help you out. Running a business as you know it's tough. It's not easy, and it's really hard to express. People always say like it's hard. Yes, it's just not that. It's just I guess the overwhelming stress to making sure that your team is getting taken care of. Making sure that you have the right product. Just everything is just. I can't say that hard or stressful is the right word. It's just a different level. I never had this working for someone else.
And how because you kind of touched on something there. There is a big stress when you work for somebody, but for some reason, the stress that comes with working for yourself is better. At least to me, like it's like I'd rather that stress than the stress of like answering to somebody all the time.
It's that meme. You've seen that meme it says like, entrepreneurship is like quitting 40 hours a week so you can work 100 hours a week, right? Right. So, at the end of the day, it's your time you're fighting for, and time's the only asset you have. So, why give it to someone else?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Because when you're going crazy trying to figure out what you're doing in your day-to-day life with your job and everything, but then you go home and it's kind of like you said, you're doing it for somebody else, and you're giving your time and your energy and your ideas and your creative process, whatever it is, you doing it to build something else is different when you're doing it to build your own thing and get your thing polished and running in a way that you should, that you feel like it should be at.
That's the idea, right? Yeah.
And listen, I went and had dinner at my old restaurant with my son, maybe like 2 years ago, and someone, I had my hat on, and it said Lobos Coffee Roasters on there, or my shirt. I forgot what I had. Well, some lady came up to me like, "Oh my God, we love it! Thank you so much. It's fantastic. We love your coffee." And I'm sitting there like, "What's going on here? I'm having dinner with my son." Some lady's just coming up to me saying, those are the little things that really kind of get you kind of motivated and keep on going. Like you're actually, the idea that you had in your head, people are actually enjoying it. You're enjoying it, you see other people enjoying it.
And it's dope because obviously you were discussing your family in Panama that had that roasted coffee, and you kind of have a memory of that from when you were a kid. And do you go by Juan or Pablo, like, to everybody? Because Ronnie always calls you Pablo. I always call you Juan.
Or nobody, only the IRS calls me Juan.
So I'm the only one.
Nah, it's like, Pablo's my middle name. Everybody just calls me Pablo. Juan is like government, work, school, maybe. That's about it.
But before I went on that tangent, I wanted you to kind of say what you said earlier, because I thought it was pretty dope. When we were setting up, you were just kind of talking about like how much people have a connection to coffee and they don't really realize it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, it's the one thing that it'll set your mood for the whole day, right? Like if you mess up someone's coffee, we know it can really throw off their day. So what we do here is kind of important. And we've gotten reviews like, my coffee was hot and I didn't like that or something,
Yeah.
And it's something very personal to people. Like people make their coffee their way and they do it like that all the time and rarely step out of that comfort zone or that lane. So right. So like exactly, like my mom will come see me. She drives up from Miami, and one of the bags she brings with her is her own coffee machine or her own freaking La Llave or Bustelo. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Mom, you know whose house you coming to? Like, how could you do this to me? She's like, no, it's okay. Like, so.
Nah, that's how it be too. Whenever we travel, like, hotels, and even on a cruise, bro, we'll bring like a little Bustelo.
Yeah. I mean, people like what they like.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the people like what they like, and I don't. You can't blame them for it. You know, it's one thing you do every day. If I don't get to have coffee every day, but I know if I had a coffee that morning in my way, like where I get to just sit on my couch or on bed and have it, I know it's going to be a good start to my day.
And something that you made me think about while you was talking just now is like, there's so many people that they just like from the night before they're looking forward to their trip to wherever they're gonna have their morning coffee to set off their day.
Yeah.
And like you said, if it doesn't go the way that they want it, it'll almost like set the day off the wrong way. Like it's like, oh,
exactly,
morning,
and then everything
coffee,
ripples from there.
The rest of my day is fried. You know what I mean?
So, we get that here. Like I've been to coffee shops that won't give you sugar or won't do a certain thing, and it's just like, well, they're trying to change customer habits, and everybody has their thing. Here, we try and just accommodate the customer and make sure that we're able to deliver it the same way each time, and their way, and on time, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I feel that. We're definitely gonna get into like the specifics of the kind of coffee you guys do and the coffee here and everything towards the end. But what's something, and not necessarily just like specifically business wise, but just in general, like what's something with either the coffee or just in the day to day or just dealing with people, something that you kind of caught you off guard, like that was like, oh, I kind of didn't expect to deal with this or to have to learn this, or you know what I mean? Like for example, like for me, I never thought like until I talked to you just now how much people look forward to that morning coffee. So it's like it's a small thing, but it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's like you're getting somebody in the mood for their day, basically. You know what I mean?
I don't think people realize how much has to go right for that to taste the way it does every time the same way. I mean, you're talking about something that comes off a tree that can be one of several hundred strains of type of beans, right? Then at the same time, they gotta be grown in similar conditions, same amount of rainwater, same amount of temperature, all of that to kind of duplicate it. Once the actual bean comes off the tree, the process to get it to your cup is not just easy. There's a lot of steps that have to happen in between to make it taste the way it does and correctly do it. So everything from picking the bean off the tree to drying it, to fermenting it, drying it, even sorting it and packing it, and once we get it here, then we gotta roast it. You see that machine back there?
I was gonna talk about that.
Yeah, that's pretty much like a big coffee oven, and even the temperatures you give it while you're roasting, how fast it heats up, and things like that, what temperature you take it out, all affects the flavor of the coffee. So if you don't do that the same way each time, it's gonna taste different. People may not like it as much. So. And that's just the beginning, right? Then you got behind the bar of them actually taking it and turning that bean into a drink. And that's a whole different process. So, with nothing else, people need to appreciate just a little bit more when it's done the right way, like how much work it goes through the whole chain to make that final product taste that way.
Just to add on to that, we've had guests multiple times come back and say, hey, do you have your espresso roast? It's not a particular bean. It's just, our blend that we have that created the espresso roast. So now, things are out of our control. We can't get a particular coffee in. And all of a sudden, now it's completely changed. Right now we're actually serving a single origin from Brazil as our espresso because it's in our espresso blend, but we feel it's really, really good as a single origin. But people still come back and say, hey, do you have your espresso blend? Wow. It's like, I don't have it, you know, but that's what they're kind of used to now. But yeah, going to what Paul was saying, it's to get that in your cup on a day-to-day basis. It's not easy. It does take a lot of work.
So, for lack of a better example, is coffee like marijuana where you can lose a strain, like if they can't make that same strain anymore?
Coffee, I'll put it to you this way. Coffee is the most addictive drug in the world. Legally, it is. It does have side effects if you stop drinking it. I'm not a big weed person. One here probably does, maybe.
I can take that. There are strains of coffee. So just like any plant, pretty much any fruit, there's different strains of it. So a couple popular strains. One of the more popular ones we sell here is Geisha. We have one called Bourbon. There are Caturas, Matagoipa. I mean, the list goes on and on. Pacamaras. Like, there's so many different under the Arabica shell that would really, the difference in taste is pretty big, but also some are better for different processes.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how I got sucked into this whole thing, right? Like you start with a toe in the water, and then you start learning and learning and learning. You're like, oh man. And then before you know it, you're like, you stop putting milk in your coffee, and like, you know, I'm chewing on beans, trying to tell the difference between them and things like that. So it really grows on you. And you, when you see the work that goes into it too, because when you visit the farms, like we've seen people like legit bring their whole family to come work the farm. Like, this is what they live off of.
Yeah.
Everything from the people who pick the trees to process it, export it, like, it's so much work goes into it. It lets you appreciate it a little bit more. And then, you know, you start seeing the competitions that happen and things like that, it's crazy.
Have you guys been to any of those, or like
Yeah, we've been to plenty of
them.
them. I mean, there's so many different avenues that you can compete in coffee too. So we've gone to a few. We've seen a couple of expos and things like that, and you know, we'll hopefully make that stage one day on a big one. But right now we're just trying to learn.
Is that something that y'all want to aim for? Like,
I mean, we
we
roast here, right? So I don't see why we can't roast just as good as the next guy. And we are lucky enough to have a relationship with farms directly. It's just a game of size, you know. When these farms and are giving quality beans to bigger roasters, the bigger roasters are buying them at crazy prices. Mm-hmm. I would say the one way that it's similar is that you got to pay for quality, right? And there's micro lots of coffee. Recently, a micro lot in Panama just set a record for $30,000 for 1 kilo of coffee.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So again, there's not a lot of it, but and then, you know, in other terms, yeah, I guess, you know, you buy in bulk, you break it down, and you distribute, and that sense, you know, I guess it's kind of similar.
So is it like could you like lose a flavor if they don't like preserve the beans the
definitely.
right way, or the seeds the right way, or whatever? Like, wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, and again, a lot of people have their hands on it too. Like, if you don't do something the right way at the farm, you'll lose it. If you don't do something the right way when you're shipping it, you'll lose it. If we don't do something right here on the roaster, we'll lose it. If they don't do it right over there, like, so many points along that chain before you actually drink it, so many opportunities to lose that flavor, a lot of people got to do their job the right way. Sometimes people get a coffee and not here, somewhere else, or maybe even here, they'll get one and say, oh, this coffee's bitter, or this coffee's this or that. And it could just be something as simple as the person behind the bar forgot to adjust the grind, or put too little water, or put too much water, or maybe, you know, like, anything can happen. So a lot has to go right to get it the right way.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something that I definitely didn't think about, just how in depth it is. But that's something that I noticed too, like you know, doing the sign shop thing and then doing the salon thing, and just, bro, everything is pretty much the same at the end of the day, just as far as like, if you approach it the right way and you learn it and you do the process the correct way, it's gonna work.
Man, I hope you're right.
I'm telling you, man. Like,
I hope you're right.
Like, especially like, for example, like in music, like, people are always looking for like a secret. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've been working with this dude recently that, like, he has a lot of credits. He's, you know, full time in music, has an amazing studio. You know what I'm saying? And like, when I hear him talk about the way they approach the work, they're not doing anything different than what anybody else is doing. They're just being consistent. And they're going the extra mile, and that's all it is to win. You know what I mean? Like, people always think there's this or that or whatever. Like, it's a thing that I learned when I started making music too. Like, you ask, like, oh, how you gonna get better? And people tell you, just record, and you kind of brush it off like, he's not trying to give me the real secret. That is the real secret.
Just stay at
if you
it.
record, you're gonna learn, you're gonna get better, you're gonna you know, improve, you're gonna figure out, oh, I can do this and that with my voice, I can do this and that with the song or whatever, and then you're recording every day for 5 years, and you're gonna be way better than a person that's just recording once every month or something like that. You know what I mean?
100%. It's the consistency. I like to think is what I mean. That's what people have told me. Obviously, I'm not there yet, but I think just showing up is half the battle sometimes, and you can't help but to get better at it. But also, the people don't talk enough about how lucky you got to get sometimes. You got to get lucky, and we've gotten lucky. This wouldn't happen without a little bit of luck. So you got to be in the right place at the right time too. And outside circumstances are what they are. But if you're doing something you love and you stick at it, and you're doing it for the right reasons, then that's the win right there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not some end product that you'll be able to say, "Oh, I made $1 billion off of this." No, it's you spent your time doing what you wanted to do, and that's where the value really comes.
And I think another thing that scares a lot of people is like, to double your success, you got to double your failure.
Yeah,
and they don't want to keep losing. They just want to know what is going to be that thing that's going to work. And it's like, you might run through 5 things that don't work to get to that thing that
500,
works.
right?
But if you don't get through those 5 things first, you're cooked. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, something that I wanted to get y'all insight on, just for the people at home, like, what's something that people can do themselves with the stuff they already have, or even just other things that they can add to their coffee station to just make that experience a lot better, like, or even just common things that people do that, like, they might not even know that they're doing wrong. You know what I mean?
I mean, I got mine, Tony.
Well, here's what I tell anyone that walks through our doors. First and foremost, we've had people come back and they'll make their coffee and literally come back and complain to me. It's like, my coffee doesn't taste the same way as here. Well, we did put $1,000 pieces of equipment, does clean the water, reverse osmosis, all that wonderful stuff that most coffee shops have. So the first thing that you want to do, and even talk to people here now, like, they have been having our coffee, just tell them, hey, instead of using a filter water or tap, especially here in Florida, there's hard water, grab a bottle of water that you like, Avion, Voss, whatever the case may be. I found this amazing water. It's a pH water out in California. Amazing, because 99% what's in your cup is water. Yeah. So start with that. You don't have to put a full filtration system at the house. Start off with your water. That, and then if you want to start tinkering, grinder. People get into it where they buy the Breville and the grinders and everything's that. Second most important thing besides your water is your grinder, for sure, hands down. Once you got those 2, I think you'll be 50% there, what you want to really get out of those coffees. And then obviously, getting something locally roasted, single origin, then you can start playing with what you want and what you find.
No, that's a great starting point though, because between the water and the grinder, that's easy. Anybody could get that.
Yeah, and people just don't realize how important water is, and it's super, super important in a lot of things, right? And if you have matcha, if you have whatever, hot chocolate, it's super, super important that you get that water right. And again, what you like, what Pablo likes and what I like are probably completely different. He has a different palate than I do. He may have a sour palate or a sweet palate or a spicy palate, and I have total opposite. So I know that we had this conversation. He loves the Nicaragua we're getting. I love the Papua New Guinea. I love the Brazil on espresso, and I love the Papua New Guinea on a drip. But I also love our espresso blend when we had it. So it's on what you're looking for, what you want out of it. What you got?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody to go invest in a water filter, but you can just go to Publix. Those machines outside of Publix. We know people in the coffee industry have tested all the different bottled waters and all the different fancy machines and this and that. And the machine outside of Publix is probably some of the best water for coffee and things, and it's cheap, it's $2-3, whatever. So that's I agree, that's a big step. But fresh roasted coffee and whole bean coffee is a big upgrade, period. Like that's
so try to avoid getting it ground already.
Pre-ground, if you can avoid pre-ground, get you a nice grinder, like Tony said. That's a good start. And no matter how you make your coffee, that's always going to be an upgrade if it's fresh ground. So that's a big, but fresh roasted too. So, if you're buying from a local roaster like us, I mean, there's tons of them around any town. So it's going to be an upgrade. And if they care enough to fresh roast it, they care enough about what they're selling you to. So check the roast date.
So definitely whole beans, so you're grinding it yourself. Make sure the water is good, and make sure you have a good grinder. And with the grinder, I know that there's like different settings, like more coarse, more
Right.
fine. Like,
Right.
how do you know which coffee?
That's a whole
It's a loaded
class.
question.
No, I mean that's exactly that's what's gonna give you the taste in your coffee. I can give you the same coffee ground 3 different ways, and you're gonna taste it different each way.
So is it not necessarily that one way is better? It's just depending on how
No.
you want the taste.
Each bean is gonna have its own flow to it, right? So some beans are more dense, other beans are darker, so that's going to let the water flow through it at different speeds, and the speed at which the water's flowing through is what's taking out that coffee. I mean, not to go nerd on you, but
No, that makes sense.
So the more of it that you expose, the slower the water's going to go through, because it's going to pack up. So something
It's like water through pebbles versus sand.
Exactly,
kind of thing, yeah.
exactly. And the pebbles might let the water flow through faster because there's more space between them, right? Where the sand is compact a little bit more, so the water has to find ways to get through it. Same way with coffee. So if you find a coffee that's pouring too slow for you, or it's maybe tasting too bitter, too dark, loosen up that grind a little bit. Don't extract it so much, and you'll notice the flavor change a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this is why I'm telling you, man. You start with a one little, and you go down. I could talk about grind size for a day, right? Like it's crazy how it changed the flavor on your coffee.
And this is kind of where people go down the rabbit hole, like they'll start off with the water, then the grinder, then this and that, and then all of a sudden you end up with a coffee shop. You know what I'm saying? So that's the rabbit hole that we're talking about. But it is every little thing from, if you want to go drip, if you want to go immersion, and what Pablo was saying is right. Where we recommend try to go find a local roasters, because we're the ones geeking out. Density, elevation, variety, all that wonderful things, and then all of a sudden we put them in the bag, so it's a lot easier for you to enjoy that coffee, right?
Yeah.
People say, well, I don't, why am I going to buy this bag of cold brew? Because we kind of formulated it because of those beans, of the stuff that we geeked out on the background to say
This didn't happen by coincidence.
No, yeah. And the same thing with cold brew and espressos. They're grounded differently completely. One is an immersion process, the other one's a drip through. So there's a lot of formulaic items that we work at the back, work with the team. They do a lot of wonderful things, because all the drinks that we have here, they're well balanced. We want to make sure you taste the coffee. You want to make sure, if you really have a beautiful espresso shot that's pulled, it should be sweet. It shouldn't be bitter. It should be nice and well balanced. We've made some really good friends. Remy out of Costa Rica, world champion barista, just showed us so much. And so you start picking up on things, and you start seeing really the differences. And again, people will find, some people want cold brew, some people want espresso, some people, whatever the case may be, each item is a rabbit hole that you go down to, from the machines to grinders, and it's just crazy what you're going to get into for those people that really want to get into it.
You guys ship as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We import from 4 different countries. So we offer coffee from 8 different countries here. 4 of those we go directly to the farm for. So we working directly with the farm. There's no middleman. The other 4 we do work with a broker because we just don't have those connections yet. But we're working on getting those. So I had a couple meetings last week with people in Colombia that we're trying to go direct for that one. So now we'll be at 5 out of 8 and just kind of grow that relationship. But we got to sell a lot more too, because the only way it's beneficial is if you're buying weight, like you're buying a lot of it. So if you don't go through it in a year, now you're stuck on it. Now you're taking a loss, or you got to sell it for less than you thought. So we really got to know our quantities. We really got to know our numbers, so that we don't buy too much, but we don't buy too little, because they only bring it once a year pretty much, or harvest happens once a year.
Yeah. So to kind of start wrapping up, I kind of wanted to just get y'all take on the store-bought coffee versus buying from a local roaster, and then after that we can kind of just get into specifically your place, and then some of the popular drinks and stuff, and just anything you guys wanted to go over here. But so when somebody's going to the coffee aisle in a grocery store versus going to a local roaster, what is like the main difference that they're getting as far as like the lack of quality in that?
Well, one thing you want to consider is whole bean versus pre-ground. I know we spoke about that, but now you're starting to see a lot of supermarkets smarten up and put local roasters on their shelf. So,
Okay.
but the sad part is also kind of like with the beer game, the big companies are buying up the local roasters and just keeping the brand like it is, so you don't know which ones are part of the big brand and which ones are not. So I would say just kind of do your homework a little bit. When you support local, you're really supporting, the local soccer team, the local school PTA. Our kids live here, we live here, we spend our money here.
The people you see every day.
Yeah, and that's to me the main difference. If we don't pay our bills here, if we don't sell enough coffee to pay our bills, this thing will be a McDonald's or another corporate chain in no time. And we're lucky. This is one of the last quarter miles or half mile roads in Orlando, probably even in America, that doesn't have a McDonald's or Starbucks or Burger King.
That's true. Now that you say that,
and this neighborhood is a big reason because of that. Because people in this community, they show up for us. They're here on the weekends. When their friends visit from out of town, they're like, "Hey, I got to take you to this local shop in the neighborhood." We got tons of regulars that come in here. We know them all by name, and we try and deliver on that. Because without it, just look around you. Restaurant Armageddon's been happening for what, the last year and a half?
Yep.
Even people with big budgets are closing. Freaking Payway down the street closed.
Yep.
You're seeing even Starbucks is closing some stores. So it's not enough anymore just to have a good product on the shelf. It's not enough to bring people quality coffee. You got to do more than that.
Yeah.
And you got to be a place for people that they want to go to, that they want to show their friends and feel proud about.
And that's definitely what you guys got going on here. Last time I came, and obviously now I'm seeing it, just the vibe here is super dope. It's a real easy place for you to just kind of come, get your order, handle any kind of little business, or just catch up with somebody. Even if you got like a little meeting or something like that, you pull up here and do your thing. What's like some of the most popular drinks that y'all got here? Like, what are the customers typically like to go to here?
So yeah, going back what Pablo was saying and what you kind of were saying about the shop, is we like to think of this as a third place. And Pablo kind of mentioned this the other day. You have your home, you have your work, and then what's the third place you're going to go to? And you're right. You're absolutely right. We have a lot of people that come here, do meetings, work, come see friends. We have events here. So that's what the community essentially is all about, right?
Yeah. So sorry to cut you off real quick, but because I wanted to mention this as well. You guys do like a dope thing where you have kind of like unconventional events. It's not just the same stuff that you seeing everywhere. Like I seen that y'all had like trivia nights sometimes, speed dating stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's a dope space because it's spacious and you can have a good amount of people in here for an event like that. But it's also intimate, where like you're having a good time and you don't feel like crowded or like, sometimes when you get to like a big kind of place or a big event, it's like you kind of like watching over your shoulder instead of like relaxing. But in here, you got the room and you got the relaxing atmosphere.
Absolutely. Like perfect example. We had a sip and script last night. We had like about 12 ladies here learning calligraphy and learning how to do all that wonderful stuff. We did a bonsai event at our other location. That's grown in popularity. I think they've almost doubled how many people want to come out. It's just kind of like that space. I was talking to this morning, and we were talking to some like a fitness instructor that wanted to kind of like a fitness class. And we were talking, and then she was saying like, yeah, I don't want to go to the park because it feels weird. They want to go to a place where they know where it is, they have the ambiance, they have everything there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we definitely try to make that vibe as much as we can. We knew that there was kind of like this hole in the market. Starbucks, love them, hate them, believe in them, whatever they paved the way for us to be here.
Yeah.
And they went away from that model, and then now they're coming actually back towards it. But like I said, we want to make this that third space. Now, going back to your question and answering that, what's our most popular? depends on the season.
Yeah, the seasonals are definitely
Seasonals.
Gotcha.
We do like the flights, and each time we open it up to the baristas, they get more and more creative, and I think
You gotta, you gotta sometimes
They're
like
start-
lean,
they're
like
definitely getting
bro,
better.
we're
Like,
like,
rein it in.
Right now, the banana bread chai and a coconut cold brew are two that I bring them out 3 at a time. People are, I want one too, and the matcha's been a hit. We got a salted honey
oh
matcha.
god, that's a pain in the
that
ass
has-
to make though. But
I
it's
mean, it's
people
work
been-
to make, but that's why people love it, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's craft. They see you back there scratching that matcha away. You know, like it takes that work to make it taste that way. Because if not, it comes out clumpy. It doesn't taste the same way, and that's what makes the difference. And the layout here, you can see the people doing it. It kind of makes you just appreciate it a little bit more.
But some of our like OG would be like our Orange Blossom Julep or OB Julep. That's probably one of our if not the popular, one of the most
We
popular.
got one called Fácil Tigre. That's really cool too.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
a oat milk latte type. Cold
No,
brew.
that's a cold brew, not latte. That's a cold brew, vanilla, which we make our vanilla in house. We try to make as much as we can
Oh,
in
nice,
house.
nice.
But now we're gonna be changing the menu on, I think towards the end of the month. So
By Labor Day, we'll have our fall menu coming out.
yeah, so we got
our own pumpkin
PSL.
spice.
Yeah,
Fall be
yeah.
going crazy, probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we got a we get a
got our own twist
PSL.
on it. That's
The PSL we do with our own ingredients, like they're fresh, so people they just go crazy
We call
for
it the
man.
Florida PSL.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it's,
We also
it's-
got a maple bourbon cortado. That's
Okay.
really good.
yeah.
It's
I'm
fun.
really
It's
really
fun.
proud of the staff of they kind of took it and run. What we do, like listen, people ask me all the time, like they ask me 2 questions. What kind of espresso machine do I have at the house? I look at them. I am an espresso machine. That's one. Spend so much money here. And then 2, how do I have my coffee? I go like, listen, it could be 1,000 degrees outside. As long as it's 72 degrees in here, I'm having a hot latte every day. They know it by hand with my little tulip. The whole, that's how I have my coffee.
Yeah.
But the team brings us over and we get to taste test. Hey, tweak this, do this. To make sure those flavor profiles are on point.
Yeah.
But they do an amazing job that we've got, essentially we've handed it off to them because they know what they're doing. They're really good.
Yeah, man. Like I said, every time I come in here, it's a dope vibe. The atmosphere is good. You know what I mean? Like you can definitely tell that like there's love and care in this place. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just dope to see, especially like the way I met Pablo just playing basketball. You know what I mean? And like he was, focused on something else before, and then just seeing this kind of grow, and then just meeting you and seeing like everything that's going on here, and then like I always look at his page or like the shop page and see you guys doing different events. You guys got that other spot now, the little kiosk. You know what I mean? Like it's just super dope to see it grow and work, but kind of like with what y'all said, y'all putting the care and the thought and the learning and everything behind it, and that's the only way it's gonna work.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't come from money. We put everything together. He had a lot of confidence in me to have this idea because I'm the one that has the experience. And the food
And
world.
that's big too, the confidence, man. Like that's huge, man. That is huge.
Listen, he's been my boy for years, and listen, we fight like cats and dogs. But I know that he looks at one way, I look at the other. At the end of the day, we want to make sure it's the right thing, right? And I get to bounce those ideas off of him, and see what works, see what doesn't. But yeah, we opened up a second location, and sold on a la carte. So that's we just started that a couple months ago. So we're working to kind of build that up to where we want it to be. But yeah, it's not easy, but I'm glad and I'm very proud that I have not just my business partner, but my best friend in the mix. So I've always felt, if we make it, I'm gonna make it with him.
All right, yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for y'all time, man.
Yeah, man, thank you for
I know
having
y'all be busy, man. It took a little scheduling to get it done, but I'm glad we got it done.
No
I got one last little question at the end, right? How much coffee in the milk? How much milk in the coffee? Specifically for like an espresso. Because some people, there's an amount that it's supposed to have, but some
Depends what
people
kind
be
of drink
doing
you're
way
trying
too
to
much. Like for me, you can't have too much milk in the espresso, bro. Like if you put too much, it just drowns out the coffee for me, and then it's like it just becomes this thing that just hurts my stomach. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What do you feel about the milk in the espresso?
I say no more than 3-to-1 ratio on espresso. I think if you're doing a latte, you know, you got 6 ounces of milk to 2 ounces of coffee, more or less. Would you say?
Listen, again, it's
8 ounces.
it really depends on if people come in here and they ask for what is it the macchiato from Starbucks. Like, listen, we don't have a blender for that, right? So it's really hard to tell people how they should have their coffee. I love my lattes, but I also love a cortado, a one-shot cortado. I love my lattes because if you do it just right, you know, milk has lactose in it, which is a sugar. If you unlock it, it's like a nice herbaceous, creamy substance once you drink it, right?
Yeah.
And then the coffee just adds that little kind of tinge to it. But again, how much milk and how much, it really depends on your palate, you know, and what you want. Is Pablo wrong? No, he's not.
At some
but
point,
it's
it's
just,
not coffee anymore. I get it. Right.
yeah.
It just depends, man. It depends what mood you're in, how much of it. There's times I don't even put any milk. There's times I put too much. Like it just.
I go out and I travel because I also do some consulting work, and I've been in places where I couldn't get like a nice roaster. So when I go out and I travel, when you go to your app, either Google or Apple, whatever, don't type in coffee. Type in roaster. That will tell you who are the roasters there or who's using a specific roaster.
Gotcha.
Because they'll give you any Joe Schmo cafe, and then I go into the coffee shop and do they actually have the machine? Are they taking serious? And then
yeah, I mean, if I walk in a coffee shop and the first thing I'm looking at is the equipment, and if I don't see good equipment,
like, they don't give a shit. They don't
I don't
care.
see a grinder in there somewhere. If it's not a nice grinder,
I was stuck in the hotel, and I was, again, Starbucks pays the way, but that was Starbucks, and I haven't had it for years, and I tasted it like, oh my god, it was excruciating. I actually ended up having to drink just like regular coffee, which just did the trick because I needed the caffeine, but oh my god. So yeah, I look for local roasts. You know, how much milk? It's kind of, you're asking me, you know, do you like a blonde? Do you like brunette? Do you like a redhead? Come on, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Gotcha. It just depends on the mood that I'm in.
Yeah, I was wondering because, like, for example, like in my house and like with my wife's parents, like you put too much milk, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but they're Puerto Rican, right?
yeah.
So how do they make it? A cafetera?
The greca, yeah, right on the stove,
so
yeah.
There, I mean, that's kind of like an espresso, so it pretty packs a punch. It packs a good punch. Do they add water to it or no?
No, just a little splash of milk and that's it. Yeah.
You look for the color, you know? You want that color.
Yep,
yeah.
facts.
That's what I look for, regardless how much, you know, quantities. If it has a good color, it's not too milky, I think it'll be okay.
Well, yeah, man. Like again, appreciate y'all coming on. This will probably drop in like a week or so. I'll send y'all all the clips and everything.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
man.
bro.
Thanks for having us.
And stay butter.